What's up guys, and welcome to Who to Sign For. Now in this series I'm giving you my recommendations on what players to sign for a specific team in career mode. But before we go on, I will say that the signings you'll see aren't designed to be realistic, and I cannot stress that enough, especially in these sort of episodes. And that the player ratings and potentials of players may vary depending on what database you are using and how they perform for you during the season. Obviously you don't have to follow all the tips, this is really just a set of guidelines to give you a hand if you're stuck for ideas and want some suggestions on what players you could sign for a certain club. This is mainly aimed at those you out there who may be new to the game. I just need a little bit of advice, or for those you out there who just want a few recommendations on what players to sign for a team that you may be using in career mode this year. So yes, in today's episode of Who to Sign For, we are going to take a look at Shakhtar Donetsk. Now, obviously, I'm using this team because tonight they are taking on Inter Milan in the Europa League Semi Final. A fantastic achievement from the Ukrainian club to reach the Final Four of the Europa League. And they are definitely one of the most unique teams you can use for a career mode, but a really, really fun one as well. It's my first ever Rest of World Who to Sign For episode. Now, Shakhtar are a 4-star team, and they started with a budget of around 22 to 22.5 mil after wage budget alteration. And of course, with them being a Rest of the World team, they're not assigned to a league in the game. So if you want to use them, you got to put them in to another league, which is in a country which is playable in FIFA Career Mode. Now, ordinarily, I would recommend the Russian league for Shakhtar Donetsk, but of course now there is no Russian league in FIFA, unfortunately, and therefore you cannot put them in there. But as for the other leagues, any of the top 5 European leagues would be really, really fun countries to start them in. But I would recommend out of all of them to put them in Germany. I think Shakhtar Donetsk in the Bundesliga, out of the others that will be available to you, would make the most sense. We put Shakhtar Donetsk in the Bundesliga, and again, they're a 4-star team, and they've got a lot of good young talent as well. Now, Shakhtar Donetsk, as many people know, are sort of like a mix of Ukrainian and Brazilian as well. There's a ton of Brazilian players that play for Shakhtar Donetsk, and some really good talent as well, such as Dodo, the right back, Marcos Antonio, a young midfielder, Maicon as well, Fernando, a left winger too. They've got a lot of good Brazilian players here. It's just a really fun team. And Shakhtar as well, interesting sort of bit of trivia for you, if you will. They actually have my favourite stadium in FIFA. It's called the Donbass Arena, and it's absolutely beautiful, both in real life and in the game as well. I encourage you all to check it out. It is such an aesthetically pleasing stadium to look at. The interior, but also the exterior of the stadium as well in real life just looks absolutely glorious. It really is a wonderful stadium. Of course, they don't play there right now due to the current ongoing conflict and the war in Donbass, but yeah, I've been privileged to have visited so many lovely grounds during my time as a football fan. That is one ground I would love to see and visit and take in awe of in real life as well. It's a glorious stadium, and one of the many reasons why Shakhtar Donetsk are a fun team to do for a FIFA career mode. And they've got 3 players that deal to come the end of the year. You've got 2 aging players, the club captain and starting goalkeeper Piatov, and also the striker as well, 78 rated but 32 years old. I'd let them both go after the end of the first season. They're good enough to be in a starting 11 for the first season, but don't renew their contracts. Just let them run down their deals and release them on free transfers come the end of the season. But also Kovalenko as well, Viktor Kovalenko. He is a young Ukrainian midfielder, I believe with 81 potential. He is worth keeping at the club as he has a decent future at the Donbass Arena. Now, as for new signings with Shakhtar Donetsk, again, I talked about it earlier, they have a budget around 22 to 22.5 mil based on wage budget alteration. And in terms of positions where I look to strengthen with Shakhtar Donetsk, well, definitely defensively for sure, and in particular the right back area. And they've got Dodo, who's a really good young Brazilian talent. However, you'll probably want someone a little bit better and also younger as well for the starting 11. And the player I'd recommend more than anyone else is Thomas Tavares of Benfica. He's only 18 years old, so he's a teenage talent, but starts off 72 rated, so 2 ratings higher than the Brazilian Dodo, but he also has 84 potential as well. He's one of the best young, cheap right backs you can buy in the game. Sprint speed and acceleration, his top 2 stats, and again, with 84 potential, potential, gross 12 ratings, and with dynamic potential, no reason why you can't get this guy into the mid to high 80s for his overall. Technically, very, very good when going forward with high medium work rates, a 4-star skill move rating as well. Shakhtar like their players that have got a little bit of flair to them. Tavares definitely has, and again, he's 1 rating higher than Dodo, not 2 ratings higher, sorry, 1 rating higher than Dodo, but 2 years younger with 84 potential as well. Definitely worth snapping up, and he's on really cheap wages too, which is a bonus, as he probably won't ask for a new contract in all the years you've tied him down for. But as for new signings with Shakhtar, after we made a few more sales here, Dentinho went to Wolfsburg, we sold our Georgian centre-half to Brentford, interestingly enough as well, and Bolbat to Huddersfield Town, the right back there, who of course you won't need once you sign Tavares to be your starting right back, and Dodo coming off the bench. I would recommend a new starting centre-back in this team with Shakhtar Donetsk as well, as you look to improve the back line, and after selling a Georgian centre-half to Brentford, I decided to go after this guy. I'd say he's one of the best young centre-backs you can buy for Shakhtar Donetsk. His name is Marash Kumbula, and he's an Albanian centre-half that plays for Hellas Verona in Italy. You can get him for around or just over his valuation, and this kid is the real deal. He's only 19 years old, but starts off 74 rated, so he's good enough to be your starting centre-half, but he also grows 12 ratings and gets to 86 overall at his peak as well. With dynamic potential, there's no reason why you can't touch close to 90 with this guy overall. He's a really awesome talent. He's got the height as well, and he's a really, really solid, comfortable centre-half that, again, is going to be great in your team in the first season. 6'1", jumping being his key stat, his top stat, I should say, at 84, means that he's never going to lose aerial duels for you in this team. He's quick enough to begin with as well, and again, defensively, physically, he's a really solid centre-half to have. He'll partner Krivstov in your starting back line, with Tavares coming in as well. We've already made 2 signings to the Shakhtar team that improve the side and make it younger as well. And as you continue that trend, the next signing I'd look for is a new central midfielder with Shakhtar Donetsk as well. We sold quite a few of them in Dentinho and Alan Patrick as well. Aging players you don't really need in the Shakhtar team for the long term, and you can replace them with better players that are younger as well. 2 recommendations for the new holding midfield role with Shakhtar Donetsk will be these 2 guys right here. You got Weston McKennie, the American that currently plays for Schalke in the Bundesliga right now, but also Bakary Samari, who is a Lille central holding midfielder, French, 20 years old, 75 rated. Either of these guys will go right into your first 11, be good enough to be a starting holding midfielder, and have great potential as they're both in their early 20s as well. For Samari, you can get him for his valuation at around £9 million. Weston McKennie, probably a couple mil over, but depending on which deal represents the best value for money for you, that's why I'd opt to go, as they're both quite similar players. Samari, in this case, did represent the best value for money at just £9 million, which is his valuation. No sell-on fee either, and again, at just 20 years old, 75 rated, he's already good enough to go right into your first 11, and he's got 85 potential as well, so it grows 10 ratings. He's got some great stats. Defensively, very, very solid. Physically, a good all-rounder at 6'2" as well. He's got a bit of pace to him, and he's a good passer of the ball as well. Alongside Stepanenko, he's a really good signing for your Shakhtar Donetsk team, sorry, as he'll slide right into your first 11 despite being at such a young age. But for yet more signs with Shakhtar, we still had some money left over after we sold on so much deadwood a few moments ago there. You will need a backup striker for the bench. The one thing you'll notice with Shakhtar Donetsk is that they got Marias, this striker up top, at 78 rated and 32 years old. He is more than good enough to stay as your starting striker in the first season, but you're going to want someone to replace him long term. They have an 18-year-old striker who seems like he's got a pretty decent amount of potential to him, but he's not really good enough in the first season to play as Shakhtar Donetsk. He's really a sort of striker that you watch the progress of in the first season and look to phase him in season 2, season 3. I'd recommend someone better for the bench to begin with, and Julian Alvarez would be a fantastic signing. 19 years old, you can get him for around his valuation. He can play on the right hand side of the wing as well, with high medium work rates, 3-star. He's got great agility and really solid technical stats already as well. He's 8 ratings higher than Secan, the 18-year-old striker, so he's better to go onto the bench. He'll be a lot more reliable than the young Ukrainian striker is right now, and he'll be able to provide competition for your starting striker at the end of the first season and be able to take over from season 2 onwards as your starting number 9 up top. I did try to sell one more player with Shakhtar Donetsk. That was Wellington Nem. This is a 27-year-old cam/left midfielder from Brazil, 71 rated, so not the best, not too bad either, but sadly, as you can see, here. I negotiated deals with both AZ Alkmaar and Final, but neither deal went through. However, we still had a little bit of money remaining, and after the season ticket sales came through as well, that bumped our budget up a little bit to around 13 mil. We had enough money to make 1 or 2 more signings with Shakhtar Donetsk, and you'll notice as well when you load up Shakhtar Donetsk for your FIFA Career Mode, they don't have a backup left back in their team. They have players that can fill in there, but not an official backup left back. Ismaili is their starting left back, but at 29 years old, you're going to want someone to replace him in the future, and the number one recommendation I'd recommend is this guy right here. It's Vitaly Michalenko. He is a 20-year-old, 74 rated Ukrainian left back. It's always great to sign players that can play for the same country as the club. Club and country, great name for a series. But yeah, Michalenko from Dynamo Kiev, he's got some really decent base stats at 74 rated to begin with, and again at just 20 years old as well, he's only going to get better. He has 83 potential, so in the first season, whilst he'll be backup and understudy for Ismaili, as he is 9 years younger, he is just starting left back for many years to come, as soon as the Brazilian starts showing signs of decline, most likely at the start of season 2. Great player to pick up and well worth having on the bench and as part of your squad for the years go by to provide cover and again take over on season 2 onwards. But the final sale we made was this guy right here, Vienko. He's one of our young centre halves we have now. He's only 70 rated, but he does have 79 potential to be fair. So we sold him to Hellas Verona there. He does grow 9 ratings, again just under 80 for potential. That's not bad, but the reason I would recommend selling him if you can get the cash is because it can help you raise the money to sign someone that's better and younger as well. He's only 23, but Denis Popov is 3 years younger and a rating higher as well, and he also has more potential too at 84. So you know the guy we sold, Vienko, he's totally fine as a third choice centre half, but Popov again is better and younger, and that's the key for any career mode you're doing in FIFA. So we sold Vienko, we signed Denis Popov, and again this is a really solid Ukrainian centre half who also comes from Dynamo Kiev. 71 rated to begin with at just 20 years old, so already a rating better than Vienko, with a 4-star weak foot as well. Defensively at just 71 rated, he's got some solid stats, and he's 6'2" as well. So a really good replacement for Vienko. Again, better and younger, and that's the key. And we had just a tiny bit of money left over after those 2 Ukrainian boys came in there for one final signing. So I thought, do you know what? Why not fill the squad out with another Ukrainian talent? This is Georgi Georgi Sitriashvili, who is a right midfielder that's 68 rated, only 19 years old as well, and again another really solid Ukrainian talent from Dynamo Kiev. 68 rated, not the best. He's not going to be in your first team for the first couple of seasons, but again on a really cheap deal you can get him for around his valuation and probably not need to include a sell-on clause as well. He's a solid talent for the future and worth having to fill out your squad with a player that can play for the same country as the club is located. Again, can play on either side of the wing, and again he has 85 potential with high medium work rates, great pace to begin with as well, and the flair trait with 4-star. A really exciting young Ukrainian talent there to sign for Shakhtar Donetsk. Watch the low stamina though. He's got really low stamina for some reason, so make sure you train out when you sign him, but otherwise he's got some really exciting stats for a very good young talent. So in the end we sold 5 players for just under 18.5 mil and signed 7 players for 41.35 mil. So in the end it was a net loss of £22.9 million, spending basically every single penny we had to earn. When you look at the team here, Tavares, Kumbula, Sumare all coming into the first team, Popov, Michalenko and Alvarez going onto the bench, and then a great young talent in Sitriashvili for the reserves as well. We've made this team better and we've made it younger as well. It's a really fun team, and in the first season you see by the objectives here, you already automatically, if you're playing in the Bundesliga that is, hit the cup objective, reached around the 32 stage, because that's the stage that Shakhtar will enter. And of course the Champions League objective, if you put them in there like we did in the group they had in real life with Man City, Dinamo Zagreb and also Atalanta as well, it's just to reach the group stage. So again, that's hit straight away. We processed through to the end of the season, saw how Shakhtar would get on, and as you can see, they had a relatively decent season in the first year in the Bundesliga as well. The objective in the Bundesliga is just to finish in mid-table with Shakhtar Donetsk, and as you can see, that's exactly what we did here. They're a 4-star team, so really, you shouldn't be targeting a Champions League place in the first season unless you're incredibly confident in your ability. But a mid-table finish in the first season is all the board asked for. We won 10 of 34, so just under 1 in every 3 games, finished up with 39 points, finishing in 11th place, and only just outside the top 10 by a couple of points as well. So hit the league objective, very solid first season for Shakhtar. And again, as for the Cup and European objectives, those are hit automatically if you're playing in the Bundesliga by reaching around a 32, which we did. The first stage, Shakhtar Inter. Unfortunately, we were knocked out by a second tier side, VfL Bochum. Little disappointing, but either way, still counts as a successful domestic cup objective. And as for the Champions League as well, we were knocked out in the group stage in third place, just like in real life, going into the Europa League with Shakhtar. But unfortunately, as you can see, whilst it doesn't count towards the objective, so it doesn't really matter. We did not reach the Final Four with the Ukrainians, whilst Inter Milan did. We did not. We were knocked out in the round of 32 by Espanyol, the Spanish side, 5-1 over 2 legs. So yeah, slightly disappointing in Europe, even though it doesn't really matter. But anyway, with Shakhtar Donetsk, it's a really, really fun team to use. If you're looking for a unique challenge and something totally different from the norm, I would definitely recommend these guys. Again, bringing in some good Ukrainian talent, like the likes of Linko and Popov as well. Very, very fun to do. Again, you've got a nice mix of Brazilian players here as well. If you want to continue that trend of sign young Brazilian talent, there's enough of it in FIFA 20. And it's just a really, really fun team to use. Again, they've got 2 nice kits. They got, again, my favourite stadium in the game. It's the Donbass Arena. It's absolutely glorious. And again, it's a project with Shakhtar Donetsk, and a totally unique one as well. You could put them in any league you want. It's totally up to you when you swap the teams out. And again, I would recommend personally to put them in the Bundesliga. But it's up to you where you want to play these guys. But it's just a really, really fun team to use for FIFA Career Mode. It's not the sort of team where after 1 or 2 seasons you finish. This is a long-term RTG and totally unique as well. It's definitely worth trying out. It's a really, really fun side to use for a FIFA Career Mode. But that was this episode of the Time For, guys. So big thank you for watching if you have enjoyed it. And if you did, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day. And I'll see you for the next episode of Who to Sign For very soon.